Did you know that the way a woman asks a question can actually be her subtle way of showing interest? As men get older, many assume that the days of someone flirting with them are behind them. But here's the truth that often goes unnoticed. Women don't stop showing interest, they just change how they express it. Especially later in life, into your 60s, 70s or beyond, flirting becomes much more refined, thoughtful and quiet. Instead of bold gestures, it often shows up in simple, everyday conversation. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because believe it or not, those casual questions you sometimes brush off may actually carry a deeper meaning. We'll look at 5 common questions women tend to ask when they're subtly trying to signal romantic interest. These aren't over-the-top compliments or dramatic come-ons. They're softer, more like gentle invitations to connect. Once you learn to spot them, you might start seeing just how much attention you've been receiving without even realizing it. Whether you're single, widowed, divorced, or simply curious about how dating and connection work later in life, this can open your eyes to a whole new world of possibility. Because the truth is, the attention never really stopped, it just changed form. Let's start with the first sign, the curiosity question. This is when a woman starts asking you questions that seem harmless or casual, but they're really designed to learn more about who you are. Things like, so, what do you usually do during the week? What's been keeping you busy lately? At first glance, it sounds like small talk, but if she asks with genuine interest or brings it up more than once, it's likely something more. This kind of question is her way of opening a door, hoping you'll walk through it and share a little bit about your life. It's not about the schedule, it's about the connection. For many women, especially over 60, flirting isn't about bold compliments anymore. Instead, it's about showing curiosity and creating a sense of emotional closeness. She may not ask directly, "Are you seeing anyone?" Instead, it might sound like, "Do you still do any of the hobbies you loved when you were younger?" Or "How did you end up living here?" These are personal questions, but asked in a casual way, and they're very telling. Most men don't realize it though. They assume it's just friendly chatter. But let's be honest, when you're chatting with someone you have no interest in, do you really ask them about their childhood, their passions, or what they do in the evenings? Probably not. Neither does she. Let me tell you a quick story. Robert, 72, lost his wife a few years ago and eventually joined a local community garden to stay busy. One woman there always asked him about his tomato plants, but gradually the conversation shifted. She asked about his time in the service, what music he liked, what he did before retiring. At first, Robert thought she was just making conversation. But when she invited him over for coffee one afternoon, it all became clear. Those questions were her way of reaching out. That's the quiet power of curiosity. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's real. It's her way of saying, "I'd like to know you, I'd like you to let me in." Learning to recognize these subtle signs can make a big difference, not just in how you respond, but in how confident and connected you feel in this new stage of life. So stay with me. We'll walk through the rest of these questions one by one, and by the end you'll be able to spot them, understand what they really mean, and respond in a way that's confident, warm, and completely true to who you are, because it's never too late for connection, and you might be surprised just how close it already is. Number 2, the teasing compliment. Another subtle sign many older men miss is the teasing compliment. It's not your typical, "You look handsome today." No, it's much softer and more playful. Something like, "I bet you were trouble when you were younger," or "You've got that kind of smile that makes people wonder what you're thinking." These aren't just passing remarks. They're small invitations for you to engage, respond, and in a way flirt back without it feeling awkward or forced. For women over 60, direct flirting can feel uncomfortable or even out of place, especially if they were raised in an era where modesty was the norm. So instead they use humor, playful jabs and light teasing to let you know they're paying attention to you, and not just in a friendly way. It's a gentle nudge wrapped in a compliment, designed to make you feel noticed, maybe even a little flustered, but in the best way possible. What makes this kind of comment so powerful is the emotional nuance behind it. It's not just about what's being said, it's about how it makes you feel. A teasing compliment catches you off guard, makes you laugh, and most importantly, makes you feel seen. That's no small thing, especially for older men who've gone through long marriages, loss, or years of just being someone's dad or grandpa. Being flirted with gently, respectfully, can feel like a spark that lights you up again. The psychology behind it is this: teasing lowers the emotional barrier. It creates a shared space where two people can playfully interact without risking embarrassment. If she says, "You probably broke a few hearts back in the day," and you smile and say, "Just one or two," you've entered her rhythm. You've acknowledged the compliment, returned the playfulness, and started something that feels like chemistry. Think about someone like Frank, a 68-year-old who started attending weekly line dancing classes. One of the ladies there would always joke about his rhythm, saying things like, "You're either really confident or just making it up as you go." She said it with a smile every single time. He used to think she was just being cheeky. But when she offered to show him a few moves after class, just the two of them, it finally dawned on him. She wasn't mocking, she was inviting. The teasing compliment is a signpost, not a detour. It tells you that someone sees you, not just the years in your face or the grey in your hair, but the charm in your step and the warmth in your presence. When you recognize that and respond with confidence, something special can begin to unfold. Don't dismiss those playful words. They may be more sincere than you think. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, the unnecessary favor. One of the most overlooked signals a woman is genuinely interested in you, especially after 60, is when she offers help that you didn't ask for. And I'm not talking about general kindness or neighborly gestures, talking about favors that go just a bit beyond what's necessary, like bringing you homemade cookies even though you mentioned you were cutting back on sweets, or offering to drive you to an appointment just because it's on her way, even though you never brought up needing a ride. These little actions, cloaked in casual generosity, are often invitations in disguise. Why do women express interest through favors? Well, for one, it gives them a way to be close without coming across as too forward. Women in their 60s, 70s and beyond were raised in a time when making the first move was often frowned upon. So instead of declaring interest directly, they show it through small, thoughtful actions, ways to insert themselves gently into your life. More importantly, doing something for someone creates a sense of connection. In psychology, this is known as the Ben Franklin effect. When we do a favor for someone, we tend to like them more, but in this case, it works in reverse too. When someone likes you, they want to do something for you. And when a woman makes the effort to be helpful in a way that isn't expected or required, it's often because she wants to build a bridge, something personal, that ties her to you in a meaningful way. Let's think about it through a real-life example. Gary, a 72-year-old retiree, met a woman named Linda at his community garden club. She started showing up with extra seedlings just in case he needed some. And one day, she even brought him a sun hat because she noticed he wasn't wearing one. At first, Gary assumed she was just being motherly, but then she started staying late to help him clean up, and she even remembered the name of his old dog he'd mentioned once. That's when it clicked. These weren't random acts of kindness. They were signs of deeper interest. And it's not always about the favor itself, it's about the emotional subtext. A woman offering unsolicited help is trying to show you that you matter to her, that she's watching, listening, and caring in small ways. She wants you to need her just a little, not because you're weak, but because you're worth the effort. That's not pity, that's attention. Older men often miss this sign because they've been conditioned to value independence. "I don't want to be a burden," they'll say. But when a woman goes out of her way to help, she's not doing it because she sees you as a burden. She's doing it because she sees something in you that makes her want to be near. So next time a woman offers a favor that feels just a bit too specific, thoughtful, or well-timed to be coincidence, pause and take it in. It might just be her way of knocking gently on the door of your life, waiting to see if you'll let her in. Number 4, the memory test. Sometimes the biggest clues a woman is into you aren't in what she says, but in what she remembers, and this one slips past most men without a second thought. When a woman recalls something you said weeks ago, something small, maybe even something you forgot yourself, that's not just coincidence, that's intention, that's attention, and more often than not, that's attraction. Why? Because when a woman brings up a past detail, especially something insignificant to others but meaningful to you, it means she's mentally holding on to parts of you. She's storing pieces of your story because you matter enough for her to do so. Women aren't doing this for every man they talk to. They're doing it for the one who stood out, even if he doesn't realize it. Take, for instance, a man named Frank, 68, who met a woman at a local book club. They talked once about a fishing trip he took with his grandson, something he thought was just casual small talk. 2 weeks later, she walked up and asked, "Did your grandson end up catching that trout?" That wasn't just politeness. That was her showing him that she was listening, and more importantly, that she remembered, and she wanted him to know it. Now let's dig into the psychology behind this. Memory is tied to emotional engagement. Our brains don't hold on to everything. We remember what strikes a chord. When someone brings up something you said in a way that shows care and context, that's a sign they were emotionally present in that moment. And for women, it's often their way of letting you know quietly that you left a mark. But here's the tricky part. Many older men dismiss these memory callbacks as friendly conversation or just being nice. They don't realize that these moments are like breadcrumbs, leading you gently toward understanding someone's deeper intentions. Especially in later life, when dating might feel less direct or more subtle, these little signals matter more than ever. In fact, for women over 60, remembering something about you and bringing it up in conversation is often safer and more socially acceptable than giving a compliment or making a move. It allows her to show warmth without risking embarrassment. It's a feeler, a test, and an invitation all wrapped into one. Let's go back to Frank. The more they talked, the more he realized she wasn't just making conversation. She remembered he liked caramel coffee. She remembered his dog's name. She even remembered his hip surgery date. These weren't facts stored by accident. They were small gifts, quietly handed back to him as if to say, "I care." If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, the compliment in disguise. There's a certain kind of compliment that doesn't sound like a compliment at all. It's not "you're handsome" or "you look good for your age." It's something a little more clever, a little more subtle, and many older men completely miss it when it happens. But when a woman says something like, "You don't seem like the other men your age," or "You've got such a calming presence," that's not small talk. That's often a quiet flirtation wrapped in a veil of respect. You see, women, especially women over 50, tend to compliment men in ways that feel safe and emotionally intelligent. Instead of focusing on looks, they may draw attention to a man's demeanor, values, or even how he made them feel. These compliments are less about appearance and more about identity. And when a woman offers one of these compliments, she's not just observing, she's admiring. Often she's hinting that she's noticed something others haven't. Let's take an example. A 72-year-old man named Alan was having coffee at a church group when a woman turned to him and said, "You know, it's rare to meet a man who actually listens without interrupting. You make people feel heard." To Alan, it sounded like a polite comment, but to her, it was a way to let him know she appreciated something deeper: his presence, his patience, his steadiness. What Alan didn't realize is that this kind of compliment reveals interest on a more emotional level. It's her way of saying, "I see you." In a world where many older men feel invisible, that's powerful. And because men are often used to hearing compliments about their work or achievements, they don't always catch on when the compliment is about who they are as a person. Psychologically, this taps into a concept called emotional attribution. When someone makes us feel good about ourselves in a unique or insightful way, we begin to associate that good feeling with them. It forms a connection, one that goes beyond just friendly words. And for women, this method of complimenting is often a gentle approach to bridge that connection without putting themselves in a vulnerable position. It also explains why these compliments may come out of nowhere. You might be talking about something mundane like the weather or your favorite book, and suddenly she throws in a line like, "I bet your grandkids adore you," or "You've got that trustworthy look." That's not random, that's targeted, and it's meant to land. But because many older men are taught to be modest or are simply out of practice when it comes to noticing flirtation, they nod, smile, and move on. They don't realize that she was putting something out there to be received, hoping he'd notice and respond. So the next time a woman gives you a compliment that seems to go beyond the surface, pause, think about what she's really saying. Is she noticing something others overlook? Is she letting you know that you're different in a good way? If so, she might be saying more than her words suggest. She might be inviting you to notice her too. Final thoughts. Now here's the truth. Most older men never hear this. Just because you're not in your 30s anymore doesn't mean women aren't noticing you. In fact, some of the most meaningful, subtle, and sincere flirtations happen later in life, but you have to know what to look for. Women around your age, and even those younger, often show interest in ways that are more thoughtful, more subtle, and often wrapped in everyday conversation. At first glance, it might seem casual or polite, but once you learn to read between the lines, something shifts. You stop feeling overlooked, you stop assuming it's just friendly talk, and you start recognizing something powerful, that others do see you, your presence, your value, your quiet strength. This isn't about chasing the past or trying to be who you were decades ago. It's about embracing who you are now, someone with depth, kindness, confidence, and experience. Those traits don't fade with age. If anything, they become more appealing. So don't let the absence of flashy compliments fool you. Real interest at this stage in life often comes softly. A thoughtful question, a gentle compliment, a moment that lasts just a little longer than usual. These aren't accidents, they're signals. If a woman asks, "Do you live alone?" or mentions something she admires about how calm or steady you are, it's likely not random. It's personal, it's intentional. These moments matter. So the next time a woman shows a little extra interest or warmth, don't brush it off. Don't assume it's nothing. Let yourself be open to it. Smile, stay present, and maybe even ask her something in return. Thanks for spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share one thing you learned in the comments and how you might apply it in your own life. Your stories and reflections truly matter to us and to the whole community. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, uplifts, and inspires. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.